Good Friday morning. If this isn't a feel-good Friday, I don't know what is a feel-good Friday anymore. Boomers Rangers even up the series against the Penguins, winning 5-2. Oh, by the way, what's 5 plus 2? 7. Who was wearing the 7 Rod Gilbert jersey last night?
I was.
Boomer Esiason was. That's right. Not a coincidence. I don't think so, seeing that I believe that people can talk to dead people now. Not a coincidence at all. And the New York Mets have their most dramatic ninth inning comeback since 1997. I was in 10th grade when that happened. 1997, as they score 7 runs in the top of the ninth to come back and eventually beat the Philadelphia Phillies. Man, I tell you, there is something special going on. I remember there was a 10-run eighth inning back in June 30th, 2000. I was there at Shea Stadium, rocking. Eventually, the Mets went on to win the NLCS that year and lose to the Yankees, of course, in the World Series. But, you know, special things happen in seasons like this, and you got a combined no-hitter. You got this unbelievable comeback. This is going to be a special summer for this team. Man, I tell you, we're going to have a lot of fun over the next 4 hours. Join us, everybody. Stick with us for 4 hours today. Quit your job. Don't go in today. It's a Friday. Just listen to us on the Odyssey app or in your car all day long. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
You know what? I couldn't be any better this morning, G. So, yes, it is going to be a feel-good Friday, everybody. And first and foremost, yes, enjoyed the night last night at the Garden with Judy Gilbert, all of her buddies. And it was just great being there and feeling that excitement of the Garden again. And the Garden was electric last night. And whether it be cheering for the icing calls or cheering for the penalty calls finally being called or just the avalanche of goals, the 5 goals that the Rangers scored last night, it was great. It was great. Igor Shesterkin was great early in this game. Guys like Vetrano and Kopp, who were added at the trade deadline, played well. Artemi Panarin played his normal type of game, setting people up, scoring a goal from behind the net. This guy, Mike Matheson, had just a horrendous night for the Penguins. He was the one that actually got the puck off of his skate from behind the net from Panarin. And then on the next shift, that's when Vetrano goes down the right side and goes underneath them and then has a snipe over Dominguez's right shoulder. So you were right, G, man. You were all over it yesterday. You said 5-1. It was 5-2. And I just want to say thank you. I appreciate the fact that you were so confident about last night. As us hockey fans know, you just never know, especially when you're playing against great players like Malkin and Crosby and Gensel. And Crosby again, center, right in the middle of everything.
Well, I mean, that
Pittsburgh.
goal he had, there's only a few people in the world who have ever played hockey could pull something like that off.
He's got Justin Braun hanging all over him,
he was surrounded. I mean, it looked like he was wanted by the FBI. He ended up scoring a goal, but didn't matter.
It was unbelievable. I mean, it was just a great thing, and these are, I don't know, like when your team wins, and I still think we should have won in game 1, but the thing about it is when your team wins like this, you just feel great, and then I get into an Uber. And my nephew Randy's like, turn on the Mets.
Yeah.
So I turn on the Mets because I was following the Mets during the game. And I'm like, oh, man, they're going to get blown out again. Here we go. This is going to be like back-to-back losses.
Told you I didn't like the matchup early on. I said, oh, man, it's a 7-1. This is a disaster.
So I'm watching Ronnie Darling and, of course, Todd Zeal after the game in the postgame. Now, this is the thing. I got no sleep.
Of course
how do you
not.
get sleep? You get no sleep. You replay everything in your head and everything else, and then you're watching the rest of the games.
We got to get you a C4 for the 9 o'clock hour.
No, I don't need it, man. I got natural C4 today. But then I think about it, and Ronnie Darling, I think they had 29 pitches in the ninth inning. It was either 28 or 29. And Ronnie was talking about he had never seen something happen so fast. And when you think about those 29 pitches, 6 of those 29 came to Dom Smith on the strikeout.
Yeah.
So 23 pitches, and it was
they jumped all over him. I mean, it was absolutely incredible. I mean, to watch. I mean, it all started with that infield single with Starling Marte, and then obviously the Lindor home run, and it ends with the Starling Marte double off the wall to end up taking the lead. And let's not forget too, you saw what the Phillies closer, he comes in not expecting to pitch last night,
and he was out of it,
and unravels. How about Edwin Diaz? who comes in a situation like this where he didn't expect the pitch and came in and imagine if he would have blown that last night.
And again, he was throwing. I don't even think about that anymore. The blown.
He's great. I know.
Blown saves and all that stuff for
how,
years and years
how
behind
great
us.
is that, though? I think we should give him credit for it.
Well,
though.
it's also Brody Wagonen's. I told you his legacy is him, and he was dealing last night again. This was the same guy that we hadn't seen, and I think Ronnie said it. We hadn't seen. Since they were the no-hit game. Mm-hmm. So this was an amazing moment. This is about the third or fourth amazing moment for the amazing Mets, I might add. But I have to say, when I'm sitting there watching this and it's happening, you could feel it happen. Like you could just.
When did you think that they were actually going to do it? Because it's still a long way to go. You still needed 2 out hits. You know what? It was
J.D. Davis.
J.D. Davis is done. When he ripped that one down the line.
You have to remember, I think it was Davis, Nimmo, and Marte all came up with 2 outs.
Yep.
And they just kept moving the line. And the Marte, here's the thing about the baseball. Mm-hmm. When Marte hit the ball, I thought it was going to be a home run.
Yeah, I know.
And
just
it died at the
out
warning
there.
track.
Yeah, well, it got done what he needed to get done, but still, I thought it was out too.
And he swung at the first pitch. Mm-hmm. The other guys, only 3 pitches each. But with the J.D. Davis double, that was the thing. And I think listening to Brandon Nimmo after the game, how is he not likable? We all know how likable he is, but he just has such a nice way about him. And for this team to be able to say that they did this back in April against St. Louis, that they did this now, they had the no-hitter, combined no-hitter. So there are, and Ronnie pointed out again last night, it's like, there are moments in seasons where you kind of galvanize, you come together. How even Jeff McNeil and Francisco Lindor are smiling together in the middle of the infield.
Yeah, I know. There's no doubt that it's very early still. We know there's a million baseball games to go, but there's no doubt there is just something different and special about this team so far. As I referenced, I remember that 10-run inning against the Braves, June 30th, 2000. Like that team with Edgardo Alfonso and Mike Piazza, they were doing special things. They had went to the LCS the prior year, so that team had a core. Whereas last year the Mets obviously were not a good baseball team, but it's just different. You see the passion and the energy and the. In years past, you look in that dugout, you don't know who wants to be there, who wants to win, who cares about what's going on. In this year, everybody is focused and engaged and never giving up. Yeah, a lot of that has to do with the manager. I'd say 90% of it has to do with the manager.
Well, let me just go back to the beginning. It really goes back to the owner hiring the right people.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And understanding that, you want to be legitimate, you got to get a legitimate guy that's going to run the team in the dugout. Now, I'm not saying that they have all that impact, but the one thing about Buck Showalter, we all know this, he can be funny after games, and he can be a little bit, sarcastic and things of that nature.
He's serious as all hell, though,
but
man.
during the game, he's standing there, and that everybody knows that he's the guy.
Yeah.
He is the 100% the guy. So we have that legitimacy. But the owner has already proven that he'll spend the money. Did it on Lindor. He did it on Scherzer. He brought in Marte and Canna and Escobar. They're trying to refill or backfill the bullpen right now. They're trying to mix and match with all that stuff because of the injuries. And then on top of that, he bought out Robbie Cano. So we have a real legitimate.
Doesn't feel like
winning,
real life.
It's like a winning attitude, and the team is reacting to all that, and I think that's a good thing. We got a long way to go, but 3 major milestones already this season. When you think about the comeback in St. Louis, the comeback last night, and then of course the combined no hitter. So that was unbelievable, and I have to say. Coming out of the Garden last night, which, by the way, is probably the biggest pain in the ass ever. Because
don't start, man.
Because of all the contract, you're trying to find construction. You're trying to find your freaking Uber. He's all over the place. I'm like, it is really.
Come on, there's no complaint. There's a complaint zone today.
I know. I was happy.
Even me, I told myself no complaining today.
But I just have to say, it was a pain in the ass, and everybody knows what I'm talking about. Go this way, go that way. You can't get to where you need to go. It's just a pain in the ass.
Well, thank God they won.
It's funny because I was walking in with Plansker.
Yeah.
And there are 2 girls in front of us, and one girl's obviously not from New York, and the other girl is telling her, like, this is what the Garden is. And we heard the conversation because we were right behind them. And, you're in a pile of people going
of course,
to the Garden.
Yeah.
And I just looked at them, and I just said, you know what? The whole place is a pain in the ass. Just enjoy it. Well, that's where we're all here to have fun. And I got to tell you.
She turned around and went, Phil Sims.
Right. I had a ton of fun last night.
It was so great.
So great to be there with Judy and and her buddies, and to see, and to feel the excitement and the energy back in the Garden that we haven't had in 5 years. I will say this about the Mets and the Rangers. What is very, very similar is that there were moments in Ranger games this year early on in the season where the team could have went one way or the other, and they ended up coming back and winning late in games. And when you see that kind of characteristic for your team, you're like, okay, they start believing that they can win. Now, I don't know how far they're going to go. I really don't. All I know is that last night was great. They reacted the right way. They came back. They played the right way. They're high-energy players, did what they were supposed to do. Shesterkin was great, especially early on. He kind of held the fort a little bit as the Rangers, I thought, were a little flat at the beginning of the game and a little flat at the beginning of the third period. But then all of a sudden, they turned it back on again. And the problem for the Rangers, we have two major injuries. Barclay Goodrow looks like he's going to be out for the rest of the way. I think he's got a broken foot. I don't know if I should say that. But anyway, I think that's what I think.
Yeah, because they're very clandestine with these
Is that a
injuries.
new report?
Well, it's a report. I don't know,
it?
but I when they say week to week, it's not good. It usually means a broken bone or something, and I think it's a foot. And then for Ryan Lindgren, he got hit with a puck right on the right above the knee where there's no padding, and I think it was a slap shot. He tried to play on it, and they probably needed a day. I think he'll be back on Saturday. I would hope. But then again, for the Penguins, they were missing two of their top guys, plus their goalie.
Playing
situation.
with a third-string goalie, which I knew he was going to come crashing down to earth. It was just one of those situations that it was almost too easy to predict. I mean, all the things I've gotten wrong over the years.
No.
It was almost too easy to predict.
No, pump the brakes on that. Don't ever say
it just
it's too
came
easy
crashing
to predict.
down to earth.
You kind of knew what was going on.
Well, that's true, yeah.
And I appreciate that, man. I got to tell you.
Louis Domingue.
Do you see any – can you give me something about what's coming up this weekend or –
I need to know who's playing. Who is the Penguins goaltender, and I can give you a better idea what's going on.
Okay.
That's the thing. I was very confident that Domingue story was a Cinderella. Yeah. That was the shoe doesn't fit anymore. Whatever.
Right. I know,
the
but
hell.
The goal off of Matheson's skate that could happen to any goalie, by the way.
Yeah, I know there was a couple of deflections too. I mean, with shots from the point where. Things got deflected halfway through, and it's a little bit confusing for him. But
that's what we want. I mean, that's what we need.
That's what you needed to do.
Trying to make the absolute perfect pass, we need more shots like that. And it's
put him under siege, and he crumbled.
That's right. Well, that's the whole thing. You're crashing and all. Look, we all know. We're happy.
Yeah,
it's a feel-good Friday. I don't know. I might just buy us something to eat this morning.
Oh, wow.
We'll
really?
See.
Is anything open around here?
That's the question. Is anything open around here?
I feel like we do the show in the middle of the goddamn desert these days. There's no coffee. There's no breakfast. There's no nothing. Just freaking tumbleweeds and a naked guy in the Chase vestibule. That's it. That's all we got down here these days. Google's taking over the world, and they work from home. I don't understand.
That's the other thing. Building buildings all over the place, but everybody works from home.
Everybody works from home.
What the hell is that all about?
I don't know.
Man, it was a pain in the ass getting out of the Garden last night, though. I mean,
how was the clouds of weed? Was that good?
Oh, it was everywhere.
Yeah, of course.
Then there's some guy in a corner trying to sell me gummies. I'm like,
nice
edibles, whatever the hell.
Listen, if you were ever going to buy edibles, last night might have been the night.
I'm like, dude, man, come on.
Yeah,
get that crap away from me. It's just insane. The whole thing is insane.
Well, it's tough for you because it's sort of a dichotomy. It's the thing that you love the most and the thing that frustrates you the most, which is you've got the Rangers playing in the middle of the city that right now is in a state that is very off-putting, and you want to go there to experience this greatness and have this fun. But in order to get there, you gotta wade through the nonsense of what this city is in its current iteration. So,
where's the mayor? He's in California doing what?
I don't know. He was at the Met Gala the other day. They did raise some money. They do raise money for charity with that Met Gala.
Okay,
at
that's
least.
great. Yeah, they would. Yeah.
But I don't know where he is now. No, I'm not so sure. It was not at the Ranger game. Although I did see Rizzo.
Yes.
You could sit on my face.
Yep.
Judge.
Yep.
And LeMahieu chugging like half beers last night.
Yeah, and then that freeloader Johnny Franco was there, and he drank the rest. It looked like I couldn't tell if it was vodka or
what
if
is
it
this?
was. They're all chugging. I like it.
What is this half beer chug?
I don't know.
I mean, when
they look good though, you got to admit that.
Well, they did in the jerseys and everything. Good for them.
Yeah.
But remember when the Jets went to the Islanders playoff games?
Yeah.
Those guys weren't chugging half beers.
No, they were slamming beer cans and slamming them into their heads.
Now, you want to tell me difference between the offseason and the Yankees are actually playing right now?
Football players, baseball players.
Yeah, that's
You got
that too. But I
maniac
mean,
linemen.
God.
These guys aren't linemen.
I mean, those look
That's
like
your
little
first
tasting.
baseman, that's your second baseman, your utility guy.
But they're huge, two of them, Rizzo and Judge.
I
LeMahieu,
know.
not so much, but Rizzo and Judge are huge. Those are like little tasting flights
Those
that
guys
they were chugging.
The great thing about that is when you are exposed to this,
Mm-hmm.
and they see it at Yankee Stadium for sure, especially when they're winning. But when you're exposed to this, now all of a sudden, you get a taste of like, this is what I want.
Yeah.
I mean, the Garden was rocking last night. I mean, everything. I mean, from, getting on the referees for not calling penalties or calling penalties. I mean, the first penalty called on Justin Bruno was like ridiculous, a little cross check. Oh, right in the box. I was actually Patrick Nemeth. And I'm like, come on. What are we doing here? It's playoff hockey.
You know what I was hoping for when I saw Rizzo there? That there was a Boomer and Gio fan that when he saw Anthony Rizzo last night asked, Rizzo, you can sit on my face.
Maybe
That's what I was
somebody
hoping
probably thought about that. But then again, I told you, we saw Johnny Franco. He always seems to show up for free, in big moments.
Oh, of course, yeah, without a doubt. He's a
Is he a
bandwagon
vodka
guy.
or a tequila guy?
I'm not so sure. I don't know.
He did a shot of something.
Oh, did he?
A little
Doing
lime.
shots?
He had a lime, so I'm assuming that it was tequila.
Okay, yeah, it had to have been then. Yeah. Johnny Franco doing shots, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Look at him.
So when you see him in Sag Harbor this summer, you can talk
Walking around with a baguette and a hat pulled down over his face. All right, it is Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network. Just getting started on the most feel-good of Feel-Good
Al,
Friday.
give me something to eat.